We welcome you, dear viewers, through Noursat Satellite and Telemir Television, and we begin our bulletin with the main headlines. Pope Leon to the participants in a global meeting. Your presence testifies to the wisdom that unites cultures and religions. The Latin Patriarchate exempts struggling families from their debts to the schools. The Kingdom's churches celebrate the Feast of the Exaltation of the Cross according to the Western calendar. From the headlines to the details. During his reception of the participants in the global meeting on human fraternity, His Holiness Pope Leon XIV delivered a speech in which he welcomed his guests and said, "Our planet is imprinted with conflicts and divisions, and you are united with a strong and courageous saying, 'No to war and yes to peace and fraternity.' For war is not the right path to get out of conflicts, and your presence testifies to the wisdom that unites cultures and religions." The Holy Father continued saying, "Today we must make reconciliation our principle, and we appeal to those at war and say to them, 'Where are you in the trade of wars that destroy the lives of the young, forcing them to carry weapons that target defenseless civilians of children, women, and the elderly, and destroy cities, fields, and entire ecosystems, leaving behind nothing but trouble and pain?'" On another note, and following the ground attack launched by the Israeli army on the city of Gaza, His Holiness Pope Leon made a call to the parish priest of the Holy Family, Father Gabriel Romanelli, to be reassured about the general situation and the condition of the parish in particular. The Holy Father expressed to the parish priest his concern about the ongoing war in Gaza, confirming his prayer for all those who take refuge in the church and his spiritual closeness for their sake. It is noted that the Holy Family Parish in Gaza continues to assist around 400 people who have taken refuge there, in addition to all who come to it, through distributing food and water and keeping the internal pharmacy open. The Pastoral Center also continues its activities with children and youth, and the offering of assistance to the elderly and the sick. For his part, Father Romanelli said that His Holiness Pope Leon is in constant contact with them to be reassured about the condition of the parish and the situation in Gaza, and after every call, His Holiness grants them his blessing and prayers for them and for peace. His Beatitude Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzabella, Patriarch of Jerusalem for the Latins, addressed a message to the families of the Latin Patriarchate schools in which he announced the exemption of struggling families from the accumulated school fees of previous years in the Patriarchate schools. His Beatitude said, "As a sign expressing the spirit of the Jubilee and in coordination with the patriarchal vicars and after listening to the opinions of the school principals, we reached a conviction to make a decision to exempt all these debts owned by our families. With the exemption of the academic year 2024 and 2025, he added, and considering the high cost entailed by this decision, we believe in the necessity of undertaking this initiative, and we are confident in divine providence." His Beatitude expressed his hope that this step may contribute to easing the life of many needy families and to restoring their trust and hope. Parents and guardians in the Latin Patriarchate schools in the Kingdom expressed their joy at the decision of the Cardinal Pizzabella, saying such a decision came to relieve the great financial burden they suffer from, which led to the accumulation of school fees for many years and their inability to pay them. On another note, and at the conclusion of the Venice Film Festival, His Beatitude the Patriarch of Jerusalem of the Latins addressed a speech to the participants in the festival in which he said, "You follow the news and watch the images that express death, pain, and destruction, while we are drowning in grief to the extent that we no longer find space for the pain of others. We have left the narrative in the hands of extremists, and we know that this war will not end the conflict, nor enmity, nor pain. From here, we must work to create a different narrative from that imposed by extremists." His Beatitude added, "The violence we witness is a harsh and inhumane language, and this war must end as soon as possible, for there is no longer any meaning in its continuation, and the time has come to stop this decline. We must also have the courage for a new narrative and a new language that opens horizons and different paths reaching society and politics." Cardinal Pizzabella concluded his message saying, "I believe that this is possible, and I hope that from Venice may come a positive contribution in this direction, and that there may be people in the world who help us to think in a different way, using words and images that build instead of destroy." Embodiment of the depth of the historical and spiritual ties that unite the Holy Land and the Republic of Turkey, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan received His Beatitude Patriarch Theophilus III, Patriarch of Jerusalem and all Jordan and Palestine. During the meeting, His Beatitude confirmed to the Turkish President that preserving the capabilities of the church institutions in the Holy Land is a fundamental duty, as they are a living witness to history and faith, clarifying that Muslim leaders, as heirs of the convent of Omar, contributed in bearing the responsibility of protecting the Christian communities and the holy places, a trust led by the Hashemites as custodians of the Islamic and Christian holy sites in the Holy Land. Patriarch Theophilus affirmed that the spirit of peace must guide the efforts in defending the Ottoman status quo law that safeguards the sacred heritage of the city of Jerusalem and preserves its unique diversity, ensuring that the holy places remain a living source of unity and hope for all the peoples of the region. The Anglican Archbishop in Jerusalem, Bishop Dr. Hussam Naoum, concluded an official visit to the Kingdom of Bahrain, during which he met His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, King of Bahrain, at Al Safriya Palace in Manama. His Majesty reviewed during the meeting a number of topics related to spreading the culture of tolerance, love, and peace among people, the commitment to the path of moderation and balance, and the rejection of religious extremism. His Majesty also affirmed that the Kingdom of Bahrain takes pride in its deep-rooted history of fraternity and tolerance among all religions and sects, which lives as one family, loving and connected, thanks to the awareness of its people and the respect for people of other religions, regardless of their cultures and beliefs. For his part, Archbishop Hussam Naoum expressed his thanks and appreciation for the warm reception, pointing out that the Kingdom of Bahrain is among the safe countries, and confirmed with the accompanying delegation the openness and freedom enjoyed by all religions in Bahrain through care, attention, and provisions of places of worship for the various religions, valuing the efforts of King Hamad and the government in spreading the values of peace, coexistence, and love among the different peoples. His Eminence Metropolitan Christophorus, Metropolitan of Jordan for the Greek Orthodox, presided over the Divine Liturgy in the Church of the Monastery of St. George in Karak, where His Eminence entrusted Archimandrite Silouan with his pastoral duties in the governorate. In the homily of the liturgy, Metropolitan Christophorus said, "We, the sons of Jordan and Palestine, must hold fast to our church and our true upright faith as we received it from our holy fathers. For it is the church that sanctifies us, and through it we reach the better life, namely holiness." At the end of the service, Archimandrite Athanasius read the letter of His Beatitude Patriarch Theophilus III containing the decision of appointing Archimandrite Silouan as a spiritual head over the governorate of Karak, with his beatitude calling upon the priests and the parish to cooperate with him to accomplish the service and to continue the desired revival of spiritual life. His Excellency Bishop Iyad Atwal, Patriarchal Vicar of the Latins in Jordan, affirmed that the two-state solution is the only solution if there is a will to live in peace and justice, confirming faith in God's love for us all. And this is what gives us hope every day despite the harshness of the reality we live. His Excellency, who participated in Rome in a formative session dedicated to new bishops, renewed the affirmation that the Christians of the Middle East are called to live peace personally and to be witnesses to it in society, pointing out that the Catholic Church in Jordan is committed to this role not only internally but also with our Muslim brothers. Bishop Twal described Jordan as an oasis for peace where we live in dialogue with all, and he added, "We have supported our Christian brothers in Gaza and the West Bank and Palestine. And whenever our hope fails because of the armed conflicts, we become more committed to helping those who suffer." He concluded by saying, "If we continue to walk in the path of war and violence, hatred will be transferred from generation to generation like a sick root." Within the celebrations of the Catholic churches in the world of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy and Life-Giving Cross, according to the Western calendar, festive liturgies were held in the Jordanian churches on this blessed occasion, with the presence of the heads of churches, priests, deacons, monks, nuns, and a large crowd of believers. Further details about this occasion in the following report. Coinciding with the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross, festive masses were held in the Jordanian churches that follow the Western calendar. At the House of Human Care in the city of Fuhais, the Sisters of the Holy Cross celebrated a divine liturgy presided over by Reverend Father Ibrahim Nino, with the participation of a number of priests, nuns, deacons, Dr. Basim Al-Sam'an, Regional Director of Noursat Jordan and Palestine, and a large crowd of the faithful. In his homily, Father Ibrahim Nino spoke about the importance of the Holy Cross and of celebrating it, as it always reminds us of the redemption of humanity by the Lord Jesus Christ. The celebration, in which the Scout and Guides of the Immaculate Heart of Mary and their musical band took part, included special prayers and spiritual hymns that emphasized the meaning of faith and hope connected to the cross. At the conclusion of the Mass, Father Ibrahim Nino gave the final blessing to the congregation, after which a fire was lit and pomegranate fruits were distributed to those present. A solemn divine liturgy was also celebrated at the shrine of Our Lady of the Mountain in Anjara on the occasion of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. The Mass was presided over by His Excellency Archbishop Giovanni Pietro del Tazo, Apostolic Nuncio to Jordan, with the participation of Reverend Father Yusuf Francis, priest of the shrine, along with parishioners, altar service, and the children of the church's orphanage. The atmosphere of the shrine was filled with prayer and hymns carrying messages of hope and peace. In his homily, Archbishop Giovanni reflected on the importance of the cross in the life of the Christian believer as the way of love, forgiveness, and self-giving. He called on the faithful to contemplate it with hearts full of love, tolerance, and sacrifice. The celebration also included the blessing of the pomegranate fruits and the distribution to the faithful in a symbolic tradition reflecting the fruit of faith and the unity of the Church. The Church of St. John de la Salle Frere in Jabal al-Hussein also held a festive Mass on the occasion of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross, attended by a large gathering of the faithful. The Mass was presided over by the parish priest, Father Ibrahim Nafar, with the participation of the church choir and the parish youth. In his homily, the parish priest spoke about the significance of this feast from historical, biblical, and spiritual perspectives. At the conclusion of the Mass, everyone proceeded to the church courtyard to take part in lighting the fire, distributing pomegranates and rosaries, and offering hospitality to the parishioners. At the Church of St. Paul the Apostle in Jbeha, north of Amman, a festive Mass was held on the occasion of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. The Mass was presided over by Father Samar Mdanat, parish priest, with the participation of several assistant priests and altar servers. The celebration was organized by the parish scouts and guides, with the participation of the church's parishioners, creating a distinctive atmosphere of faith. In Zarqa, the Church of St. Therese held a festive Mass on the occasion of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. The Mass was presided over by Father George Sharaiha, parish priest, assisted by the altar servers. The parish choir, led by chanter Shadi Khfouf, and with the participation of parishioners, served during the Mass, creating a distinctive spiritual atmosphere. In his homily, Father Sharaiha connected the suffering endured by Jesus Christ on the cross with the sufferings experienced today by the faithful in Gaza, Jerusalem, and other countries in pain, highlighting how suffering can lead to the glory of the resurrection. In celebration of the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross, the Mar Sharbel parish in Jordan gathered in the church's outdoor courtyard, where all participated in the divine liturgy presided over by the parish priest, Reverend Father Joseph Swade. In his homily, he spoke about the history of the cross and the story of its discovery, while also praising the blessing of security and safety enjoyed by citizens and residents in Jordan under the wise Hashemite leadership. After the celebration, the parishioners walked around the church courtyard, followed by the lighting of the fire and the distribution of pomegranate fruits to those present, according to the church traditions, amidst hymns and songs specific to the season of the cross. The celebration of the blessed occasion continued at the churches of St. Michael in Smekiye, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Latin in Fahis, and other local churches across the kingdom. In the framework of their annual spiritual retreat held at the Maronite house belonging to St. Sharbel Maronite Church in Amman, the priests of the Melkite Greek Catholics in Jordan gathered. During the meeting, which was attended by the Patriarchal Administrator General for the Greek Catholics, Archimandrite Bulus Nuzha, the preacher of the retreat, Father Joseph Swade, addressed a set of topics about the contemporary challenges facing the Church in the third millennium, such as modern technology, social challenges, and others. The participants in the meeting also discussed ways of enhancing the pastoral mission of the church in this changing world and coming out with recommendations to help them strengthen this mission, including the development of pastoral programs targeting the youth and parish members, and the role of women in participation in pastoral activities, in addition to enhancing cooperation between local churches and apostolic and social organizations. The retreat was concluded with a divine liturgy presided over by General Administrator Father Nabil Haddad. Amid spiritual atmospheres filled with joy, a divine liturgy was held in St. Ephraim Syriac Orthodox Church in Amman on the occasion of the ordination of a number of the parish's sons. The liturgy was presided over by His Eminence Mor Anthemus Yaqub, assisted in service by Father Rabban Benyamin Shamoun, parish priest of the Syriac Orthodox in Amman, with the participation of the church choir, which presented a bouquet of spiritual hymns. In his homily, Bishop Yaqub addressed the role of the deacons in bringing new spirit to the church, stressing the necessity of the participation of children and youth in church life. After the liturgy, a number of new deacons were ordained in the presence of a gathering of parish members who offered congratulations to the newly ordained, and commemorative photos were taken for all the attendees. The Middle East Christian Association in Jordan announced that it is in the process of organizing an international conference on religious tourism under the title Jordan, Rooted Christianity and Extended History. The association said in a statement that its members met with the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, Dr. Imad Hijazin, where they presented to him a proposal to hold this conference in the first quarter of next year with the aim of shedding light on Jordan as an authentic and distinguished destination in Christian heritage tourism. This statement added, "We presented to the minister the goals of the conference, including highlighting the civilization and spiritual Christian heritage in Jordan as an inseparable part of the Jordanian national Christian identity, as well as promoting the religious sites located on the Christian pilgrimage route as unique faith and historical status in the region." The association confirmed the minister's positive response to the proposal, as he decided to begin forming a preparatory committee for the conference, which will attract local and international tourism figures and representatives of the Christian church in Jordan and the Middle East. A group of youth from the Patriarchate of the Greek Orthodox of Jerusalem participated in the Patriarchates of the Middle East camp, which was held in Cyprus, accompanied by monk deacon Chrysanthos Snobar and economist Farah Farah. During the days of the camp, the participating youth presented a bouquet of spiritual and cultural activities, followed by Byzantine church hymns and chants. They also took part in purposeful games that enhanced the spirit of cooperation among the youth, and they excelled in presenting a segment of Jordanian and Palestinian heritage in traditional weddings, thus reflecting the authenticity of their identity and their ecclesiastical and national belonging. The camp was concluded with a festive liturgy presided over by His Eminence Archbishop of Cyprus, Kyrios Georgios, where all the youth joined in offering thanks to God for the grace of fraternal encounter in an atmosphere of spiritual joy. The General Secretariat of Christian Youth in Palestine organized its summer camps for this year, where the youth lived days focused on strengthening faith to help them live true hope and build a mature Christian life. The Buds Camp was also held, planting in the hearts of children of the seeds of prayer, joy, and holiness, and providing them with practical keys for Christian hope through activities filled with love and fun. The secondary camp embraced high school youth to help them discover their true identity in Christ and strengthen their confidence in gospel and faith despite challenges. The preparatory camp likewise came to affirm that Jesus is the closest friend and that relationship with Him grants their lives joy through lectures and enjoyable activities. And with this, dear viewers, we have reached the end of our broadcast. Before we conclude, here's a reminder of the main highlights. Pope Leon to the participants in a global meeting, your presence testifies to the wisdom that unites cultures and religions. The Latin Patriarchate exempts struggling families from their debts to the schools. The Kingdom's churches celebrate the Feast of the Exaltation of the Cross according to the Western calendar. For more details, please visit our website, noursatjo.org. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a pleasant time. And until we meet again.